Hello, it's Noir Vortex, and this is going to be a video about I've done a few of these in the past. I want to do another INTP video, pretty much a reflective one, but also a look into the future one, I suppose, and looking for advice from other INTPs as to how to deal with this specific kind of issue I have in general, which is, well, I say issue, but it's more just a collection of issues really. The cat might meow a lot, it's just in the background making a lot of noise, so just ignore that. Yeah, so let's get to the crux of what the video's about. I guess basically it's about overcoming weaknesses in an INTP, because I think a lot of the traditional weaknesses associated with the INTP Myers-Briggs type have been manifesting a lot in my life of recent. A little bit of background. Okay, so what am I essentially talking about? Problems with motivation, focus, a lack of meaning, a certain nihilistic impulse, a certain cynicism which has developed in myself, which I'm very aware of, and a tendency to deconstructing everything and just putting walls up, I suppose, kind of almost returning to a hermit-like state in some respects, which is a state I've gone in and out of for the last few years, I suppose, really. So yeah, I'll give it a context, background. I've been, I'm a web developer traditionally. I've been freelancing for the last year or so, but the last job I had full-time was pretty much a year ago now. Like full-time permanent job that ended, and I've been freelancing for a year, but that's been it's been a very chaotic year, and I found myself getting very unmotivated, very just really unmotivated, and finding it difficult to really find what my place is supposed to be in the world. I don't know if this is a result of having that tendency to overthink everything, but yeah, I found very much that I've slipped into a kind of mode of laziness, a kind of mode of being able to get by just about, and that being good enough, I suppose. I'm trying to work on ways to self-improve, which is a slow process, obviously, which is frustrating at times. But yeah. So I've not really had a steady job for a year. Been working on many different projects, from video game development to web development, but not really. Some of them do have focus. You'll see on this channel some of them highlighted if you go into like Ginny and other things. You know, long-term projects I've just been working on for like a year now in the case of Ginny. But I have this real problem with, I feel like an outsider still. I think I don't really feel like I fit in anywhere particularly. I don't know if a lot of that has to do with hermiting myself off for a while. Like, I've still got friends, relationships, etc. But at the same time, I'm also very cut off, I think, from a lot of society and a lot of the world, I guess. And I feel increasingly disenfranchised and an outsider in it, I suppose, as well. And if this, I gather this is probably not a common INTP thing. On the nihilism note, yeah, there's definitely a developed nihilism which has occurred in me, which has been a philosophical system I've looked into. But then it seems to have become counterproductive to my actual self-development in some respects, because often with nihilism you can become quite cynical and detached and complacent with things not being great. A lot of stuff's gone down this year. I've had to move around a lot, which has been frustrating to say the least. Studios, houses, places to live. That's been a process in itself. And yeah, I just guess I'm reaching out to see. I'm also relaying some of my experience, but also how, if you're an INTP, or any other type, but INTPs primarily, so this video is for, how have you dealt with I suppose extreme change, and then also making sure that you don't isolate yourself too much, basically, which is definitely the problem I've had for at least 6 months now, is where I've been kind of going into my cave, doing my work, admittedly, doing my scribbling on my wall in the cave, but not really putting it out there that much. I mean, saying that, I have done recently with some stuff. Look, I've just done a print run of some poems I've written, and you know, some of the game development, web development work, but again, that's all kind of virtual and digital, so it's not really real. So I mean, some things, I'll just list a few ways I've been trying to deal with this issue, as it were, and it is an area I need to self-develop with. It definitely is. I've been making sure I go for more walks out in nature, which is a newer thing for me to do, and I think it's good just to get away from everything, clear the head, as it were. Trying to organise better, as in like organise things on the computer with Google Docs or Calendar or whatever. That's been useful, just having tools that can help with organising the life and organising time, really. Trying to rediscover focus, which has been difficult to say the least. I'm still, like I said, I'm 32 now, but I still kind of feel like I'm doing a lot, but I'm actually not really in monetary terms. I'm not really getting any returns on any of the stuff I'm doing. It's just fair enough, like, in a way, because I don't think much of it is of worth where you would expect a large financial return, and I accept that. But it's just I guess the process of actually, because a lot of the work I'm doing as well is also stuff that you have to really put a lot of time into, like game development, for example. You have to put a lot of time into that until you can respect any returns, momentary or otherwise. So that's been a frustrating process. In terms of nihilism, it's something I'm trying to deal with, becoming more optimistic, I suppose, as one can do, but I still retreat into a kind of jaded pessimism a lot of the time. I think that's probably quite a common INTP thing. We want to see the world objectively, we want to structure the world objectively according to our TI, I think, isn't it? Mixed with the intuition. So those kind of intuitive leaps are coming. I've had about 2 or 3 of them this year when I've been involved in different things, but they kind of feel too far between, I suppose. And it's like I kind of, if I'm not intellectually stimulated very much, then I kind of get very, like I said, lazy, unmotivated, and it's just, it's generally just not positive. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to make a really long video. This is 8 minutes so far, so yeah. Do you have any thoughts on INTP being stuck in a rut? Is there any ways that you found that were useful to get yourself out of that said rut? And how did you apply those methods? What success have you had with them? Like I said, with the methods I'm already incorporating into my lifestyle, I've noticed some changes, but then also days when I slip. It's complete matters further. I've got bipolar disorder, so that kind of mixes up the entire thing, really, because it just affects my energy levels. Like, for example, if I'm just depressed, then it's difficult to do anything, really. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. If you've got any thoughts, please leave them below. Really genuinely interested in hearing what people have to say about this Myers-Briggs INTP and kind of dragging yourself out of a rut, I suppose, essentially. Like any tried and tested methods that you might have thought of to self-improve, like, and all the things I listed before. Alright, I'm sure that's probably a bit boring and rambling, but that's your lot.